as we peruse the various possible justifications for a national emergency to be announced tonight, let's look to Fox and Friends to see what they're suggesting is the national emergency that we must declare to build a wall.
The question is not only of the drugs that are coming through, not only the potential gang members that are making their way through. There is danger. There's also families and humanitarian aid that's needed at the border. And then with the catch and release in courts saying we got to release these people and these kids within 20 days, they go into our school system. In our school system, last time there was unaccompanied minors, they flooded into Long Island. And I want to tell you, I can't tell you how many teachers said their classroom size doubled, and a lot of them don't speak any English. And suddenly they're trying to teach kids with other kids who are paying taxes, whose parents are paying taxes, the same subjects, and the other kids don't speak English. So in comes more teachers, in comes more tax dollars to find those more teachers, more classrooms, temporary classrooms, and they had no say in what was happening. These people are now being stacked up at the border in makeshift shelters.
There you go.
I don't believe that.
What don't you believe?
Actually, literally anything of what he just said.
Well, I will tell you this. Look, there are 50 million students in public schools as of the fall of 2018. That is, I think, across both elementary and high school. And every year, ladies and gentlemen, almost 65,000 students graduate from high school who are undocumented immigrants.
And they're all on Long Island?
Apparently.
Every single one of them?
All 65,000
just
of them
all
are
on
Long Island.
Just like, they're all just like, they cross the border and then all of a sudden they're just like, I want to go to the mall.
And of course,
I want to go to Huntington.
Tomorrow, the answer on Fox and Friends to this problem will be to privatize the schools and drain money of them and give it to private schools. So color me a little bit skeptical about their concern.
Kilmeade complained that they actually got more funding in teachers.
Right.
But they just couldn't say, no, we don't want the more funding in teachers if it means we have to take in refugees.
That was precisely I just looping back. I mean, they were incompetent and the lies are so extravagant and ridiculous that she got called out on Fox News. But I mean, we should do some fascism minding here because those are definitely like of the big lie varieties. Like those are not, hey, let's massage a statistic and do some spin and do all this crap that everybody does, of course. Those are like,
well, Kristen Nielsen's
that's what I'm saying.
Statement was the worst.
Well, no, that's actually primarily what I'm pointing to because that sets the whole thing in motion. But she and Huckabee Sanders, that's fascism. It's incompetent. Fascism's so incompetent that it's not even succeeding in a Fox News segment. But
a lot of people laughed at the original Nazis, too.
Right. And they didn't, exactly. And as Ken Klippenstein pointed out, Hitler, the reason Hitler rose was because he wasn't fact-checked in Munich enough.
Didn't get enough Whopper.
He didn't get enough Pinocchios. But the truth is, that we got to note, that's fascism. Those are big lies.
Yep. Well, but it's starting with a grain of truth, right? Because people know it's in the air that these are real problems in schools, right? Class sizes are too big and they're under-resourced. And then they do a little fascist misdirection and blame it on the immigrants instead of, the ruling class.
Indeed.
Right.
Now, here we have, when we speak of fascistic lies that are being almost A/B tested on Fox and Friends, it seems to me. This is a clip number 4. They bring on Brandon Judd. He is the National Border Patrol Council. I don't know if is that the union? He's the union, right? The union president of the Border Patrol. And this union actually is one that is in favor of Donald Trump. They all can't be gems, folks. Sometimes when you have the most backward-assed of groups of people, they get excited because they get to knock some heads at the border.
Cop unions are not good.
But they brought on Fox and Friends this guy, Brandon Judd. And they brought him on, again, to A/B test what lie is going to float tonight. They tried the thing about the schools, and you almost heard everybody in the studio laughing, like, oh, Kilmeade's worried about public schools now. This is hilarious. But here is Brandon Judd.
A couple of things that have come out of Homeland Security and maybe the White House communications that maybe need to be further defined. NBC News head says this: only 6 immigrants in terrorism database stopped by CBP at southern border in the first half of 2018. They followed up on bigger statistics that were put out by Homeland. What's the truth?
Okay. That's absolutely ridiculous to say that we've only detained 6 people that were on the terrorist watch list. We're not going to make that information known. We have to keep that close to our to the chest. When you look at 9/11, all of those people
Pause it. Wait a
that
second.
took down.
I'm confused. Haven't we heard for weeks that it was 4,000? But is that part of like a false flag? We put out the 4,000. But it's somewhere between 6 and 4,000. But we got to keep.
This is the same thing they did with the Snowden revelations. We could never possibly talk about anything to validate our mass surveillance of Americans because that would jeopardize the whole thing.
But they've already put out all these figures.
Right.
We just heard Bridget
Misdirection.
whatever, Christian
Exactly.
Nielsen
Those
say
exactly,
those numbers.
Those numbers are wrong. Exactly.
The lies are for national
Yeah,
security.
the lies
Yes.
are for national
Do
security,
you
which is
underst-
totally not
right,
fascist.
Right. Do you understand that the numbers between 6 and 4,000? Because if the terrorists knew the number was 3,387, they would have all our secrets. Go ahead.
We've only detained 6 people that were on the terrorist watch list. We're not going to make that information known. We have to keep that close to our to the chest. When you look at 9/11, all of those people that took down the towers right here in New York City, none of them were on the terrorist watch list. We don't know
Pause
who's
it.
coming.
Guess what there wasn't before 9/11?
ICE.
Terrorist watch list. Yeah. That's why it was so hard for them to be on it. We didn't have a time machine. Go ahead.
New York City, none of them were on the terrorist watch list. We don't know who's coming in this country illegally. This, again, is illegal immigration. It's not legal immigration. If it was legal, they would be presenting themselves at the port of entry, and we would know exactly who they are.
This is absurd. So he said that we can't tell, we cannot tell how many people have been there, and we, because it would be revealing secrets, but we also don't know.
Not to mention, there is essentially no legal immigration for working class people.
I mean, the bottom line is half of supposed undocumented immigrants in this country came in legally and overstayed their visa. So they're just lying. He's just lying. But we'll see if that one floats. Lastly, in anticipation of tonight's broadcast, and we should say about tonight's announcement by President Trump that President Obama wanted to address the nation about immigration. What was this, 5 years ago? I don't even know what the date is today. And all the networks said, no, we're not interested. It's too political. Somehow they have found it within themselves to reverse themselves. When
My
it comes
fellow
to
Americans, I'm announcing a complete ban on white migration to the United States.
There you
For
go.
too long, these male-brained monsters have emerged from caves and wreaked havoc across the globe. We can't stop all of them, but we can make a first step.